Hey guys, my name is Ryan Chambers. I am the host of Starcast Sticker Marks, the only Dallas Stars fan-led podcast. Today, we're going to be taking a look at the West and the Central Division for the realignment for the 2020-2021 season and see how I think the standings are going to look like at the end of the regular season. Let's go take a look at it. All right, once again, guys, I'm Ryan Chambers, and I'm the host of Starcast Sticker Marks. If you want to hit like and subscribe for our YouTube channel, we are a Dallas Stars podcast, but we talk about all things hockey. So, anyways, let's get to what we're going to talk about today. So, because of the pandemic, the United States-Canada border is closed, and that makes it very difficult for the NHL to have a season because there are so many teams in Canada compared to the other major sports in North America. So we have 7 Canadian teams that we're going to have to figure out what to deal with, right? So, and I mean, it's no secret at this point that there's going to be a Canadian division. It's been already confirmed by Gary Bettman, and it's been rumored for months that this is going to happen. So in this division, they're going to have all the 7 Canadian teams. So that includes the Calgary Flames, the Edmonton Oilers, the Montreal Canadiens, the Ottawa Senators, the Toronto Maple Leafs, and the Vancouver Canucks and the Winnipeg Jets. So that leaves the other 24 franchises that are based in the United States to be split into the remaining 3 divisions that we're assuming. There may be more, but right now it seems like there's going to be 3 other divisions other than the Canadian division. So it looks like they're trying to do this based off of geography as the best they can, considering that the Canadian teams are out of it. So one looks like there's going to be an East Division. There's going to be a Central Division, which is kind of weird because it includes some teams from the East, and then a West Division. So first off, in this East Division, it looks like it's going to include the Bruins, the Sabres, the Devils, the Islanders, the Rangers, the Flyers, the Penguins, and the Capitals. And then in the quote-unquote Central Division, you've got the Carolina Hurricanes, the Blackhawks, the Blue Jackets, the Red Wings, the Panthers, the Wild, the Predators, and the Lightning. And then finally, in the West Division, you've got the Ducks, the Coyotes, the Avalanche, the Stars, the Kings, the Sharks, the Blues, and the Golden Knights. All right, so let's start with one of the divisions that may be a little bit easier to predict compared to the others. So let's start with the West Division. So that's going to include Colorado, Vegas, Dallas, Minnesota, LA, Arizona, Anaheim, and San Jose. So I'm going to start from 8 going up to 1 and where I think they're going to finish. So down at 8 is San Jose, 7th is Anaheim, 6th is Arizona, 5th is Minnesota, 4th is LA, 3rd is Dallas, 2nd is Vegas, and 1st is Colorado. When you look at San Jose, I just don't understand or see how they could project any lower than 8th. They might get 7th, they might be Anaheim, but I just don't see it. Their goaltending, they still have Martin Jones and Devin Dubnyk. I just don't see the upgrade there. I honestly thought that Aaron Dell was the better goaltender for a portion of San Jose's season, and now he's gone, and he's in Toronto as the number 3 goaltender. So, and then Erik Karlsson and Brett Burns are going to have bounce-back seasons. They did not have good seasons last year, and they need to prove that they're still, very capable, huge, and big important defenseman for San Jose. And then you've also got their forwards are pretty good. I mean, you got Thomas Hertl, you got Logan Couture, you got Kevin Labanc, you've got Timo Meier. A lot of good young forwards, but just based off of what I saw this past year, I just don't think that they finish any higher than 7th. And I've got them at 8th on mine. Now, Anaheim is in the middle of the rebuild. They've got a lot of good young players that are up and coming, but it's going to be a couple years before they even are considered for contention. Arizona, I'm putting Arizona underneath the playoffs for this, mostly because of what I saw in that Colorado series back in the return to play playoffs. So, yeah, it was all great that they beat Nashville and everything, and I'm happy for Arizona that they did that. But boy, was it men versus boys when, especially Game 5 and 6 in that series. I mean, the only reason why Arizona was even close was because of their goaltending. So, I mean, Arizona, I just have outside of the playoffs here. Now, Minnesota, I also have at 5th just because I don't like a lot of the moves that they made in the offseason. I know Bill Guerin is a very knowledgeable hockey guy, and he seems to know what he's doing. But, I mean, you get rid of Eric Stahl and all these moves that he's made. I'm just not so sure that it's going to get them above where they need to be in the playoffs. Now, I do like the signing of Cam Talbot. That is definitely an upgrade over Devin Dubnyk after they traded him off. But I've got them underneath the ceiling for this one. Now, 4th, I've got LA. This is kind of like my hopeful pick. They have a lot of good young players. I can't tell you off the top of my head, but they have a lot of good young players. And then their goaltending looks to be fantastic this upcoming season with Cal Peterson in net. And it's his net now. So I think that Jonathan Quick is slowly going to be kind of eased out of a more important role with this team. But I'm going to be excited to see where this LA Kings team goes. And, I mean, they've still got Drew Doughty. I mean, you still got Anze Kopitar. You still got all these other older guys. But you have all of these up-and-coming younger players. Now, at 3rd, I've got Dallas. And I know this is my team. But I just can't put them above Vegas and Colorado, even though that we beat them in the return to play playoffs. We played very well against Vegas in that series, and I think that was a very good series, and we did well, but I just don't see it, especially with Sagan being out for the first month and a half of the season. Same thing with Bishop. And I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, well, Sagan wasn't scoring very much, and Bishop was hurt, and Hudobin was the backstopper anyways. Yeah, but I just don't see it. Gary and Hintz are really going to have to step up if that's going to be the case. Now, Vegas, I got it 2nd. That addition of Robin Leonard is absolutely huge. That gives them arguably one of the best goalie tandems in the NHL. And when you look at their defense, you got Shea Theodore, and then obviously that addition of Alex Pietrangelo is going to be huge for this team. Now, a lot of people are talking about the fact that they had to move out Nate Schmidt to Vancouver in order to make room for Pietrangelo. Does that mess with the chemistry? I don't know. On paper, is it an improvement? Yes, it is definitely an improvement. But we'll have to look and see if that messes with the chemistry of the Vegas Golden Knights at all. And then obviously I've got Colorado at 1. They're just an absolute juggernaut. It's absolutely insane. So they end up trading out Zadorov, and then they end up getting Devon Taves from New York, not the Rangers, but the Islanders, because of the cap crunch that Lou Lamoriello has put himself in. And all that Joe Sakic had to give up was 2 second-round picks. He didn't even give up a first-round pick to get Devon Taves. And just their team just looks absolutely scary on paper. Now, when you take a look at the Central Division, this division is still kind of up in the air and who's going to be in this division, whether it's going to be Minnesota or St. Louis. And at the time I'm recording this, we still don't know. But I've got St. Louis in this division and then Minnesota in the West Division. So just based off of this is how I've got them lined up 8-1. So I've got Detroit at the bottom, Chicago 7th, Nashville 6th, Florida at 5th, Columbus at 4th, St. Louis at 3rd, Carolina at 2nd, and then Tampa Bay up at the top. Now, obviously, down at the bottom, Detroit, they're in a rebuild, and Steve Yzerman, I'm scared of what he's going to do with this team. Eventually, they're going to be at the top of the standings, and, I mean, you got to give it 2, 3, 4 years, but they really got hosed with not getting the first overall pick. They really needed that. But they did draft a great young player in Lucas Raymond, so we'll see how that ends up. Now, at 7th at Chicago, obviously, with the departure of Corey Crawford and also Brandon Saad, Corey Crawford through free agency and Saad through a trade, it kind of looked like that Stan Bowman finally decided, okay, we're going into a maybe not a rebuild, but like a retool kind of thing. I mean, you're never going to be in a rebuild when you've got Patrick Kane, Jonathan Taves, Ducky Keith, and some of these those three guys, especially being a part of that core for so long, you're never going to be in a rebuild. But it looks like they've kind of sort of accepted the fact that they're not as good. They've been out of the playoffs for the past couple times, so I've got them down here at 7. Now at 6, I've got Nashville. Nashville looked atrocious in the return to play against Arizona, and it made it even more obvious when they got trashed by Arizona, and then Arizona got trashed by Colorado. It just showed how low on the scale Nashville is. And they've kind of, ever since that Stanley Cup final run, they've kind of slowly made their way down the standings, and now they're just kind of like a bubble team, and I have them missing the playoffs. Now, Florida, I've got at 5th. I really wanted to put them 4th because I really believe in this team, and I really want them to do well because they've got so many really good players. But with the departures of Mike Hoffman and also Dadonov, I just don't see it. And then there's all these rumors about that Florida is, trying to cut costs because of the fact they're not making enough money with all of this. So I've got them out at 5th, out of the playoffs. Now, the first team in the playoffs I have is Columbus, and mostly it's because of their goaltending. I mean, between Elvis Merzlikins and Jonas Korpisalo, I watched that 5-overtime game against Tampa Bay. That was absolutely one of the most incredible, performances I've seen out of a goaltender in a very long time. And unfortunately for Korpisalo, he lost that game, but I love that goaltending tandem. And then you got to love Seth Jones and Werenski. I mean, I got to be kind of partial to Seth Jones because he's from Plano, around the Dallas area. But still, it's a really good defense back there. And then the only thing I'm kind of questioning is their forwards. But when you've got John Tortorella as the coach, they should be fine. At 3rd, I've got St. Louis. And I know that they lost Alex Pietrangelo, but I understand why they didn't do it. That $8 million cap hit that he got from Vegas is huge, and there was no way that St. Louis was going to give him that. Now, they did add Torrey Krug to replace him, and I think that's a great signing for both Krug and for St. Louis. St. Louis was missing that number one kind of defenseman who could also play on the power play, and then also that addition of Justin Falk, way back when in the last offseason, before all these Pietrangelo leaving St. Louis rumors started going. That was a great add too, and I think he was added because they saw that Pietrangelo might leave St. Louis, and so that's a great pickup by Doug Armstrong. And so I've got them at 3rd, making the playoffs. 2nd, I'm kind of on the bandwagon with this team is Carolina, just with their forwards, Sebastian Aho, Vincent Trocheck, and all these other guys that. Their forward group is just absolutely fantastic. Tara Vinen is just absolutely fantastic. And then also their defense just looks great too. Obviously, when you got Dougie Hamilton kind of leading the way with that group, it's awesome. And then also the only question I have about Carolina is their goaltending. Now, their goaltending, it hasn't changed from Mrazek and Reimer. I think that's the only thing that's kind of keeping them out of being a real Stanley Cup contender. Are they a contender? Yes, but they're probably like a lower tier contender to me. And then obviously at the top, I've got Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is an absolute juggernaut. Between them and Colorado, I'm going to be really interested to see who does better in their own divisions. All right, that does it for our video today. Tell me why you think I'm wrong or whether you think I'm right in the comment section below, and just let me know. I'm curious to know your opinion. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe for more content from the NHL. Thank you guys again for watching. We'll talk to you again soon.